And welcome to Treviso for the second game of Eurosport 2's coverage of the ULEB Cup. And Treviso host Pau Orthez. And for Treviso, it's another game as they try to build themselves into this competition to give themselves a chance to get to the second phase and the knockout phase. For Pau Orthez, it's just win or bust, really. Only one win so far in the ULEB Cup. They've got to establish themselves with some sort of victory tonight. Otherwise, it's probably good night for them as a ULEB contender. With me tonight, as always, Martin Henlon. Martin, Pau Orthez, the club with the tradition, EuroLeague, a one-win record. What's going on in France?
Well, you look at the roster there, and they've got some names who've been around French basketball for a long time. Cédric Fechot, Thierry Rupert. They've got individual talent, but they just seem to have no concept of playing together as a team. It's a big budget team in France. Every year they'll be one of the highest budget teams put together. There's no reason for them to perform to this level, and normally when you're in that situation, it's the coach that carries the can.
Well, here's that Treviso team, and their coach, Octave Mahmoud, there was talk about him earlier in the year as Benetton really struggled in this competition and still struggling in the Italian league. Talk about him being under pressure too. He's had a few wins in the ULEB Cup, but at the weekend they came up short again in the league. This becomes an even more important game for him and his club.
Yeah, we've been seeing a bit of a resurgence from some of the bigger name teams. We've been following Bologna the last couple of weeks. Benetton had the big win a couple of weeks ago with Riga. They're a team that seems to be getting a little bit better. They're a very young group of players, and they're starting to mesh. You know, the star players like Mario Austin's got to step to the front and give them some leadership. But again, you're right, coaches under pressure on both sides of the court tonight.
Well, one person that Martin didn't mention for the UK fans here, Pops Mensah-Bonsu. Another chance to have a look at Pops. We saw him really explode at the end of the last game here on Eurosport 2. This is a game that could become a little bit open. Really could see Pops showing us really what he can do. Well,
I hope so. And I was trying to see how long we went into the broadcast without mentioning young Mr. Mensah-Bonsu. And, you know, we're always excited to see him perform. And you're right, Mark. This is the sort of forum where you expect his energy and activity around the basket, because Pau are not a very good defensive rebounding team, for him to have some real impact, genuine impact out there.
Well, the cheerleaders coming out for the player introductions. And Benetton, one of the clubs we've talked about a lot, about having this history and not being able to establish this year. That Italian league is tough, but how really tough is it, Martin? They're still struggling. They're 4 off the bottom. They've really got struggled all year to establish themselves.
But when you look at the Italian league, Mark, top to bottom, I mean, first of all, there are 18 teams, so they're playing a 34-game season, so they've got a long way to go. But there's some really top quality teams in that Italian league. You've got Montespaschi Siena, which is undefeated on the season. You know, Lotomatica Roma is very good. Scavallini is very good. But they're in a battle amongst probably 8 to 10 teams that have got losing records, and they will be in the mix and probably safe at the end of the season.
Well, here is the Treviso lineup, just waiting for the start of the game here. Treviso coming out in the green strip, the famous green colour that Treviso is famous for around Europe. And Pau Orthez in the white, trying to get a second win in this ULEB Cup competition. Even though they're struggling at home, a Final 8 appearance in Turin later in the season will be big for any club, and Pau would take a lot of supporters to that. They're a big club, well supported, big budget. The ULEB Cup is a place for them to show what they can do.
Well, they need a spark to get their season on a roll, and this is a last chance for the before they go into the Christmas break. And I'm sure the players, if they're as professional as we'd expect them to be, will be thinking about doing the best job they possibly can tonight. Now, I mean, this team is stitched together with players who have been around for quite a while, so there's no reason talent-wise why they can't perform.
Well, Treviso control the basketball, and here's Lionel Chalmers trying to get their half-court offense going. Reece Gaines. Mensah-Bonsu comes to the high post, a little bit of ball movement here. And there's the wide open three that's just nailed by Reece Gaines on the far side. Knocks down the three. We see he had a great game last time up, but we saw him on Eurosport 2. Really sparked a second half comeback for Benetton.
Well, he's a quality scorer, Mark, and you know, in Treviso, you've got the second highest best performing three-point shooting team, so Pau will have to extend their defense. They're not particularly big or athletic, so their hands will be full, because once that extends out, young Mr. Bonsu can get going in the post.
Wow, 2-3 zone here by Pau Orthez. Going inside to Monster Bensu, baseline move, getting up, and nice finish by Pops there as he created a bit of space and finished nicely around the basket. Pau pushed the ball back down the other end, and there's a young man we saw playing for the French junior national team in the summer in the World Junior Championships, Ludovic Varty. Nice blend of experience and youngsters on this Pau team. Chance here, Treviso on the break. Chalmers to the hoop, and a pretty looking layup, but misses the easy two. And Pau getting themselves going, trying to tie this up. Step back three is no good at all, and it'll be a control by Treviso as Matteo Salenga comes down with the rebound. Nice move by Gaines, creates some space. Sarenga didn't like the look at the shot. Gaines looks to create. Nice crossover and creates the open three from the corner. It's absolutely nothing, and both teams looking a little bit shaky from the perimeter, and this is a good move by Stanic to slow it up, get something going in the half court. Varty releases to the high post, and there's Anton Mendy on the inside, and going to get called for the travel on the move to the baseline. Mendy's a good athlete, not a young man, only 20 years old.
That's, you know, the one good thing about this team, as you see often in French basketball clubs at this level, they will always have a lot of French talent that are coming through the system. So they may not be that good now, but you know, these youngsters will grow into their bodies and their skills. You've already mentioned Ludovic Varty playing extended minutes ahead of a national team player in Thierry Rupert. So they are trying to blood their young French guys, but it's the Americans that have got to step up to make them into a winning formula.
Pop Spencer Bonsu kept it alive, but come down for Pau Orthez. Stanic, nice pass, should be easy too. Great athleticism by Monster Bonsu, huge block, great rotation. Reece Gaines is fouled on the break. Love to see a replay of that one.
Well, you see Pop showing his athletic ability, hustling at both ends of the floor, offensively trying to keep the ball alive. Great transition defense, getting back into the mix to block that shot. And you notice, of course, Mario Austin not starting. Coach Matumi going with Pops because he recognizes the opportunity. Athleticism will probably be a big advantage for him tonight, especially with strong drives like that.
Mistimed on the jump. That'll be a Pau Orthez basketball.
Yeah, but we know Reece Gaines, Mark, as you said, we mentioned him a couple of weeks ago, and he just got on fire in the fourth quarter against Riga. He has to take his shots early to get a feel for the ball. Don't worry about him till down the stretch.
Well, Maximiliano Stanic, the Argentinian guard, tries to create in the half court. So Mendy's guarded there, and there's good defense there by Sarenga. Gets his hands on that one. Sean Fenn, and another guy that has a good college pedigree. It's just so surprising that Pau Orthez just haven't been managed to tick and click as a unit. Stanic, and kicks to the weak side. Sweet looking three. Knocked down on the far side by Antoine Robinson.
Antoine Robinson, the new American, new pickup. You know, that's what he's been brought in to do. But again, his pedigree doesn't put him in the normal category you'd expect of a player that Pau would pick up. So I'm sure that they've taken a long, hard look at him.
Nice looking stroke by Matteo Salenga. He knocks down the three. 7-5 lead for Treviso. Well, it's a pretty looking game from the perimeter at the moment when people get their feet set. Early on, those nerves of throwing up the bad threes. People a little bit more in rhythm. Can't actually see. I hope Orthez do not stay in that zone for too long, because Benetton will just shoot it down, I think. As Mendy turns the corner, nice pass, nice finish. Well, excellent pass by Antoine Mendy. And Antoine Robinson as well shoots the three and then throws it down. So he's announced himself in this Pau Orthez lineup. 7-7 early, 6 minutes to go in the first. Nice ball movement. Reece Gaines penetrates. Sarenga tries to get the three going from the corner. Nice rebound by Gigli, and it's recontrolled by Treviso. Chalmers for the quick three off the pass from Reece Gaines. Another rebound by Gigli, and
well, Mark, you're seeing the real Achilles heel of this Pau team. Fantastic pass there on the inside by Reece Gaines, I think. Pau are just not blocking out well. They don't rebound well as a team, and it's down to team rebounding, not individuals. They've got athletes out there, but they're not particularly strong inside the paint, and Benetton taking advantage of that. Saying that, though, they're holding close early on. This is by no means the blowout that on paper you would expect it to be.
Well, here's Sean Fenn. First time he's touched the ball offensively, and he got Reece Gaines off balance and penetrated well, drew the foul. And inbound pass, new 24-second clock for Pau Orthez. They trail by 2. Here's Sean Fenn, here's Maximilian Stanic. Nice penetration, and he gets to the basket again. Mensah makes him change it, but nice follow by Ludovic Varty. The young 19-year-old picks up his first 2 points. And it's surprising they don't rebound, because they've got some real athletes there. Mensah to the basket. Oh, Varty just blocked him from behind. Strong move by the young man. On the break, just about controls it. Nice kick to Antoine Mendy. Doesn't get the 3, and Mensah pulls down the rebound. Well, it's nothing but exciting at the moment. It's up and down, and
which suits both teams, actually. I mean, Pau's not scoring well, but I think it's because their shooting percentages have been so bad. They're getting good looks at the basket, and they're getting Antoine Mendy into the game early, which is a good sign, because he had a big game at the weekend where he had 16 points. But they need to just get some defensive rhythm, and a good defensive series, except for no blocking out. Wow. Lionel Chalmers, the smallest guy on the court, waltzes in for an easy layup.
Oh, nice look early. Vardy in the paint, kicks. Well, it's either nothing but string or nothing at all for the 3-point line at the moment for Pau Orthez, and Antoine Robinson didn't really look like he was going to get a sniff of the ring on that one. Mendy called for the foul. It's 11-9 with 4 minutes, just over 4 minutes to go, and Pau won't be too disappointed with the start so far. Wow, 11-9. Benetton just have it with 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, as David Young checks into the game for Pau Orthez. Young, one of the most consistent scorers. We'll be renewing acquaintances with Lionel Chalmers, both teammates at Xavier. Both had good colleges career there. It'll be interesting to see if a little bit of pleasantries exchanged by the two ex-Xavier college students.
And also you see the substitution made by Benetton, bringing Mario Austin into the game and getting Pops to the 4 position, which gives them a lot more size and beef, but it doesn't give them the outside flexibility, because Jiggly is an exceptionally good shooter, but who needs it?
Who needs that? Reece Gaines, well, the one before looked a little bit ugly, but he's just points in the bank when he's going to fire it up, and he fires it up again there and comes down with 3. 14-9. Nice pick and roll. Oh, should have finished much better than that. Weak finish on the pick and roll, as Stanic gave the nice pass to the inside.
That's just a lack of confidence as well, Mark. That's a player who's not feeling in the zone, because he's supposed to convert that layup, and Stanic just didn't come up with the goods.
Nice look down the floor. Mendy doesn't control it, but will be a Pau Orthez ball, as Matteo Salenga could not control the pass or the loose ball. Pau Orthez, this sort of competition, these games, is an opportunity for him to get some sort of confidence going, some sort of positiveness going, just trying to kickstart their season. They're too big a club to be in the position they're in at the moment. Here's Maximilian Stanic on the dribble, pulls back, falls 3, but makes it. Oof. Everybody all over him that time. Closes it to a 14-11 lead, and that was, well, to say the least, under pressure.
Well, you see flashes of individual skill and talent. This team is by no means, under-resourced. It's just coming together, having some confidence in each other, and maybe because it's the last game before they've got a 3-week break, they play a little bit more relaxed. As David Young said, he is the most consistent player that they've got. If anybody is safe in his job, it's him.
Oh, David Young, nice pull-up, just towed the line a little. So it only comes to 2. Serenga for the running 3 is fouled, and Pau Orthez will send Serenga to the free throw line, and that's Kevin Melson with his first foul. No, it's not Kevin Melson at all. Sorry about that. Kevin Melson's checking into the game, as is Angeli Arenzi, and everyone's getting the run tonight. This is a chance for coaches to look at players. They're going to probably rotate their guys early in this game, first 2 quarters, and then see where they are at the halftime.
Well, that's exactly what you would expect to see. As both teams have had tough weekend losses, and particularly Benetton, they're looking to another game this weekend. So the ULEB Cup, as important as it is to this team, you've got to make advantage of your squad depth.
Well, it's a difficult job for coaches, trying to win the game while still trying to rotate players, and both coaches are having to juggle their resources. But here is Stanic, Maximilian Stanic. Finds David Young. He'll pull up outside for three, knocks it down, and he's looking smooth. That's explosion off the bench. That's back-to-back perimeter shots for David Young. 16-16 the score, 2 minutes to go. And we always say this in terms of being on the road. We've got a foul off the ball. Looks like there's a hold. And that'll be a Benetton Treviso basketball. And the foul's on Kevin Melson that time. Well, that's
there's the bump there. He's got laid out.
So then you quite often see that not called, although it's he obviously stepped in and took him out. But here's Reece Gaines and Lionel Chalmers. This is a potent backcourt. Chalmers trying to get some half-court rotation of the basketball, trying to stretch this zone. There's the cut going through the keyway to drag the zone, create some space. Chalmers should kick this. Fez Austin underneath the basket, stays with it. Good, strong rebound. Should have made the first, should have made the second, but worked hard with it. Chalmers backs it out. Saringa gives it back to Chalmers. Excellent work on the zone, really creating holes in that zone defense. Wow. Shot or alley-oop?
Well, that's a shot, but it was created because Reece Gaines, every time he touches the ball, two Pau defenders running at him, which leaves guys open, and offensive rebounds at the moment are just really hurting Pau. I mean, if they would take care of their rebounding, they would certainly be up at the moment.
Well, here's Chalmers on the break, breaking down, gets into the keyway, gets the drop, and one for Lionel Chalmers. And that's what you've got to do in broken play. Before the defense is set, attack the space. And
that's where he's good. We've seen him in the past where he tries to go for that same drive when the defense is set, but there he recognizes he's got the much slower, non-athletic Kevin Melson trying to stop him and just attacks the basket strong.
Well, Kevin Melson checks out after picking up two quick ones. And it's 20-16, and Lionel Chalmers trying to complete the three-point play. Well, that's an active coaching staff there. All three guys up, trying to help especially trying to help the younger players out on the floor. Renzi seeing some floor time here. He's made some contributions in games. He's only 18. He's 2'7", but he's getting 10 minutes on average in this ULEB Cup. So he's no stranger to being out there in a big European night. Here's Ludovic Varty. Stanic still got point guard duties. Young to the basket, protects it, but Mario Austin, enormous rebound, the big boy.
That's what Pau are lacking, is a beast under the boards that they can be sure is going to go and clean up and get all the rebounds for them.
Here's Reece Gaines. Renzi. A little bit of change in the backcourt now for Treviso, as there's a whistle as Soriano went to the basket, and looks like the foul's on Antoine Mendy.
Oh, there's the grab. And just off balance there. What he needs to do is try and force the defense back towards his help. And I know a lot of teams in France, it is against the rules to let anybody penetrate to the middle. So Mendy was a step late there, and it was safest bet for him was to commit the foul.
Well, there's the first of the three throws for Matteo Salenga. 31 is one of his veteran status now. Makes the two, looks smooth from the free throw line. Substitution as Laman Sambe comes in for Pau Orthez.
And the worrying sign for me, if I'm Pau Orthez, is that even though we're still in the game at the moment, we haven't been to the foul line, so they're not drawing any fouls. Benetton being able to play off their man. They're giving up open jump shots. So Pau's just playing soft offensively.
In the half court here, Pau trying to get something, and we got a whistle, and Renzi's called for foul as he held Ludovic Varty in the low post. Just over 20 seconds in the first quarter, which has been an interesting quarter because Pau have found ways to score. Now they've got to find a way to keep Treviso off the boards. And Stanic has gone the whole of the quarter. 16 seconds now, and he'll have gone the whole 10. Looking for the last shot of the first quarter, trying to close it to a 5 or a 4-point game. There's the pick. Oh, awful, absolutely awful decision by Stanic. Chance here for Gaines. Is he going to get it up? Nice kick. And a three for Engin Atsur on the buzzer for Benetton on what was a decent first quarter for Pau Orthez. Went completely pear-shaped in the last minute and a half.
It all did collapse there. The house cars came down. Great no-look pass by Reece Gaines. Saw the defense collapsing on him, and Engin in the right place to receive the ball. Great performance first quarter by Benetton Treviso, doing exactly what they expect to do. Pau have got to go back to the drawing board, I think.
Well, it's 26-16, and there was 8 unanswered points at the end of the quarter, and that just turned what was a good first quarter performance. On the road, you need to keep it tight, you need to give yourself a chance, and that's exactly what Pau had done for 8.5 minutes, but now they trailed 10, and with no confidence.
And that struggling with confidence, you know, statistically, it just doesn't look good for them. No free throws, which I think is a worrying sign. It means they're not being aggressive offensively, and they've given up 6 offensive rebounds, and, you know, turning the ball over. And this guy here, Reece Gaines, who's, you know, making some incredible shots. You know, they're Benetton looking at team, as I said, you know, they're struggling in the Italian league, and they have struggled in the ULEB Cup, but they know this is an opportunity to spark their season. Much as we said with Bologna, if you get on track in the ULEB Cup, then good things will start to happen for you in the domestic league as well.
Well, if Benetton come up with a win here, they had a setback against Bologna at the weekend, but it'll be the best series of games they've had all year. They've had a couple of wins in the ULEB Cup. They won in the league, and then they just had that one setback against Bologna. So they're beginning to get some momentum, as we keep saying, momentum key. Well, it was in fact a 10-0 run there for Benetton at the end of that quarter, and that really coincided with the emergence from the bench of Mario Austin. And as while as we're all excited about Pops Mensah-Bonsu, you got a seasoned vet and a huge presence on the inside in Mario Austin, and he just made such a difference. Nice job on the inside by Antoine Robinson, and Renzi's called for the foul. That's better, though, as you said there. No free throws, straight away inside, get a foul.
And also that's where the coach has shown that he is coaching him in the timeout, because that's a clearly set up play, a little double screen baseline to get Robinson open under the basket. Well executed. He paused a little bit, didn't expect to be that free, steps to make the free throws. And these are the kind of things that can give confidence to a team to say, hey, you know what, this team's not that good. Yeah, there's a legacy but Benetton, but we're Pau Orthez, we're a big team too.
Antoine Robinson goes 1 from 2 from the free throw line, and Serlinga, who's also gone the whole of the first quarter, pulls down the rebound. Atsur in the point guard Judas instead of Lionel Chalmers. Nice look to Renzi down low, got a chance to spin, nice move, draws the foul and doesn't get the M1. Nice move by André Renzi. He's a young man, got some good footwork there, excellent move.
And it was good because he stayed with the play. Even though he knew he was going to get fouled, he tried to convert the layup. There he is, he gets them in the air, knows the bump's come, but still looks at the basket and tries to close out. One little criticism, left hand on the left-hand side, you'd have a layup.
That's what we are here, though. We're perfectionists in this booth. We're trying to get guys, if we could help them, we will.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to improve them. And it's good to see guys like Renzi going up against Varty. These are kids that are played against each other at junior level as well. So this means a little bit extra, a little bit added spice to this game for both players. Well,
Varty comes down with a defensive rebound off the missed second free throw. Re-establishes the double-digit lead here, and Stanic, who's still at the point. Not a lot of rotation in that Pau. Nio looked low, and well, he almost came across there looking for one option only, as Thierry Roubert, who's, as Martin said, national team player, made the baseline cut. And there's a young coach, as we talked about before the game, Martin, a young coach with some problems. Coach Mobsus, only 35 years old. He's trying to turn around a big-time program here. Nice job by Varty on the inside, though.
And yes, nice job by Varty, but you would imagine that if the season's going as bad as it is for Pau, there's obviously confidence in him as a coach and in some of this group of players. They are a young team, but they're going to have to start getting some results, particularly at home and or in the ULEB Cup, because this is an opportunity to get wins. This group that they're in, you know, they look like they're dead in the water at 1 and 5, but if they win this, you know, the top 4 teams are all got to play each other yet, and so they're not out of it completely, but they do need some help.
Here's Zaina Media back at the point. It's Young guard here. Well, he's not so young, mid-20s. A little bit too much dribble here in the half court by Pau Orthez. Got to pass the basketball. And there's only 6 seconds on the shot clock, and they back it out. Here's the pick and roll. Almedia's turned over. Awful offense by Pau that time. Gaines with a pretty-looking finger roll. And he gets and converts the 2 back to a 10-point lead. And, well, Almedia's got to start running some offense here. He's not. That's almost another turnover by Zain Almeida. Gets it back. Still trying to get something in the half court. Got to pass the ball. David Young finds Almeida, penetrates, gets the gap, is fouled on the way to the basket. Looks quick, Almeida, but not really sure he's in that much control of the offense.
Yeah, and you can see now they've made some substitutions, and we understand that why Stanic plays so many minutes. The balance that they had in the first quarter for a period has gone completely. The ball's not swinging, going from one side to the other. It's not going inside the paint and back out. And Almeida, you say, he's quick. He's obviously a transition player, but he's not in the game for that. He is the point guard. He's supposed to conduct operations out on the floor offensively.
Well, Juliana Maresca checks into the game. David Young almost mishandles, goes baseline. Turnover again for Pau, but recovered. Here's Young. He'll shoot that for 3. Doesn't come up with anything, though. An uncontested ball. Vardy is a young man. He's just got to get active all over the glass. He's just a bit too passive there as Atsur just cans a 3. Sweet as you like, no pressure. Just this is looking a bit worrying for Pau now. They've got to do something else defensively to take Benetton out of this rhythm they're just establishing now.
Well, you've got to find personal pride if nothing else, and you know, this is the problem when you play for a big club. And as we used to talk about it when I played at London Towers, the pressure of putting on the shirt of a big name team, and all of a sudden their basketball gets a little bit more pressure, a little more difficult to make good things happen. And these guys are looking over their shoulders for somebody else to take up the slack.
Well, Thierry Rubert with a bad looking shot, but it really all stemmed from the lack of offense in the half court. And not surprisingly, Pau take a timeout, and they really do need the timeout. That's another turnover, the 6th turnover, as Coach Mopsus gets them in the huddle. Well, in this situation, he's a young coach, Coach Mopsus. He's only just a little bit older than some of the older guys on his team. He's got to try and get these guys to focus on something so they can get something positive out of the game.
But he would have had to do that in practice. This is not the time to make those sort of adjustments. The team has to believe in you from the times you put in the hours on the practice floor, preparing for this game. And I think he hasn't got any great leadership on this team. You look at their performance so far, and there's not one guy you can say, he's the man he is the man of this team. David Young is the closest thing they've got to it, but they need somebody at defensive end, and that's where Thierry Rubert is supposed to come into play as a great shot blocker that he's always been.
There's a replay of Reece Gaines, and exactly what Martin said that Pau Orthez don't have in Reece Gaines and in Chalmers. They have a lot of leadership, Benetton, and that is where the young players can just feed off that experience. Mario Austin at the high post, looking to just create for other members of his team. Nice penetration. Renzi for the mid-range 2. Austin on the glass on his own, and that will be a Treviso. Now, Mario Austin was 1 on 3 on the boards, and he's just worked harder than anybody else. Keeps it alive. Net effect, Benetton Treviso basketball.
Yeah, nobody sacrificed themselves, put a body on the big fella, block him out, then you can just pick the rebound up off the floor. Instead, they all jump and challenge, and then Atsur Engin just hustles in and keeps the ball alive again, and all of a sudden they get the ball back. And that is the sign of a team that's working harder, and that comes from confidence. And this is the inspiration you want from your coach.
It's Reece Gaines who controls it. Maresca Giuliani gives it back to Engin Atsur. Atsur on the dribble. Ball movement, better ball movement this time again by Treviso. Reversing the basketball. Find Austin. Mid-range shot is long, but guess what? Another offensive rebound for Treviso. Maresca resets. Gives it back to Atsur at the point. Nice back screen by Austin on the weak side. Reece Gaines trying to come off screens to get open. And receives it now, faced up. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Penetration. Renzi thinks about the long 2. Gets a little fadeaway going, and Austin comes up with another offensive rebound.
A nice balance as well. Mario Austin knows he could have finished that play, but no, it's kicking it to get the offense right. You can see that they're quite complicated in an offensive set, but what they have got is when it doesn't work, they've got that man there, Reece Gaines, to go to. Who is the go-to player for Pau? The guy that can create his own shot and be effective like Reece Gaines.
Well, they don't have the answer to that at the moment. 60% of the boards there, all down to the last
sheer
three.
Hustle, Mark, as well. I mean, it's not, they're not getting offensive rebounds because, they're any better as players. I mean, because rebounding is just down to smartness and hard work. And look at this.
At the moment, Reece Gaines finished nicely. At the moment, Pau Orthez are playing between the three-point lines. No one's going to the boards at either end. No one's getting back. And you can see why they're in this hole of a season at the moment. 36-19. And it's Zayn Al-Media at the point, gives it up, and then we've got a foul at the travel. Is that the foul called on Atsur?
I think they've called the foul. And he's asking for the travel. And of course, this show, there's a good measure of how these teams have progressed, because don't forget, Benetton lost in Pau early on in the season in the first leg of this in week 3 rather. So over the last 5 weeks, they have obviously progressed, got much better, much more confident, and it's reflected in the scoreboard. 17-point lead. They've had a couple of personnel changes. I mean, Pau have had massive personnel changes. It's been like a revolving door policy. Wow. But they don't have any kind of glue between this team at the moment.
Well, here's Antoine Mendy gives it to the wing, and not even looked at the basket that time. Defense, and there's a Travers. Great defense. The effort there, and the hustle. And Andrea Renzi just with solid defense, kept his feet on the floor. Good move. There is there's the contact on the torso.
And there's the extra step.
And good defense.
Thierry Rupert is not the player you would go to in that position, and they work so hard to get the ball back to him. He's not a great offensive player.
Well, it's just a demonstration of how to pass the ball at the moment without pressure. And then Atsur knocks down the three. Well, that's 3 from 3 for Atsur. Sooner or later, someone from Pau is going to work out that guy can shoot the ball. It's a 20-point game, just over nearly 4.5 minutes to go. That 26 score is on the after a 10-0 score. So it's a 30-6 score. So in the last few minutes here for Benetton, and somehow Pau have got to find a way to get back in this basketball game. They're 18 down, and there's just no pressure at all on the basketball. And they're running any offense they want, and as Martin said, a lot of complicated sets. They're just killing the clock, deciding what shot they want, and pretty much getting what they want. Penetration. Atsur, is it 4 from 4 for Atsur? No, misses the first of his threes, and a decent rebound that time by Antoine Robinson. And Al-Media brings it down the floor, gets something in the half court. Let's pass the basketball. Here's Sean Fenn coming off the screen. Pull up for Robinson, way short. Chance here, Andre Renze gets the rebound. Chance for Benetton to run. Better transition this time from Pau, forcing them into the half court, but then no pressure again. 39-21. Seringa, who's gone the whole game so far, is long, but another offensive rail. There could be some ULEB records.
And they've been falling. Those records have been falling all night tonight, haven't they, Mark?
Well, we unfortunately saw Guildford Heat involved in a record game in the ULEB Cup, as they lost very, very heavily to one of the favourites for this whole competition in Badalona. Oh, pretty play by Seringa, and by the nice pass as Mario Austin.
And what you saw there, Mark, again, another difference between these two teams. Even though this game looks like a blowout, it's good to see teams in the ascendancy versus teams that are struggling. Mario Austin showing leadership, orchestrating the play from the pivot position, making the pass, and well, finally something good happening on the inside. But you see, Thierry Rupert was completely on his own. It was 1-on-4 in the paint. He made an excellent move, but it's a flash in the pan. They need some consistency like that.
Well, they've got to get some stops too. They're not going to come back without some stops. Here's Atsur, penetrates, finds Austin, little spin to the inside, and one for Mario Austin. Looking pretty, looking good, and this could be a real confidence breather for this Benetton Treviso team. Mario Austin with a pretty little spin. Antoine Robinson with a foul. Mario Austin with a chance to make this a 21-point margin.
You've seen Antoine Robinson. He's one of these guys. Obviously, it's his first job in Europe after coming to the NBA Development League. And he's still going through the acclimatization process of actually realizing that, you know what, these guys can play in Europe a little bit.
Well, here's Stanic back in the game, and probably not before time in terms of the way this offense didn't function when he wasn't in the game. Here's Antoine Mendy and Sean Fenn. They've gone back with pretty much the starting lineup. There's Stanic. Another turnover. Here's Mario Austin leading the break, 3-on-2. They're going to pull this out. There's too much traffic. Austin, he thought he was going to take it, decided not to. Little give and go. Beautiful ball movement. And Renzi just not quite strong enough to finish the play. Well, it looked pretty, but it's just too easy.
Very, very easy. It's almost like a walk in the park, almost like a practice drill for them at the moment. But again, it comes back to confidence. Mario Austin kicks the ball, slashes hard to the basket, finds the open man on the bucket in Renzi. And you know, Robinson did the right thing by committing the foul, and he has to go and take a seat, and the coach is thinking, oh my gosh, what do I do next? Because he doesn't have any other options. You know, these are the guys he's got. And I would imagine there will be some changes happening in the south of France over the Christmas break.
It won't be a Merry Christmas for some of these guys, probably. It'll be a go home for Christmas, and we won't see you back in France, if anything.
Go home and stay home.
Go home, stay home. Here's Renzi from the free throw line. Well, 1 from 2 again. And Stanic will try to get this Pau Orthez offense starting to function. Sean Fengo curls off that screen, and we've got a whistle and a carry and
dribble, all sorts.
Well, it's not
too much dribbling, Mark. And you mentioned Sean Fenn. Here's a guy who's got good college pedigree. He's worked his way, you know, like a dog, working up through the ranks in the French professional leagues. He gets his chance to shine at Pau, and all of a sudden just doesn't even touch the ball. And what is he? He's a three-point shooter.
It's 48-23. It's a 25-point margin. Every one of the stats for Treviso is good, and every one of the stats for Orthez is bad. And on top of that, another turnover. Antoine Mendy. When it's not going your way, it's definitely not going your way. And it's to me, it's just did he pick it up? Yeah, he picked it up slightly before. It's one of those travel calls that referees always make.
Yeah, they're looking for it. He's pivoted. He's made the fake. And it's an easy call to make, and especially when the team is turning over the ball as much as they are. They're certainly into double-digit and turnovers. And look at the scoring here. You know, and again, the impressive thing from Treviso, yes, they've maintained their offensive presence, but defensively, they are imposing their will on this game, which is a good sign for this team. And you can see that the confidence as it builds, they get a nice balance inside and out. Things will get better for them as the season goes on.
Well, this is going to be a very, very long night for this Pau Orthez team. And looking at that timeout, and this is the Treviso timeout, but the body language in there wasn't the body language of guys who were going to try and even play for the pride. They look very defeatist. There's someone there, even one of the young guys even. It's difficult for young guys, though. But one of those young guys maybe play with some energy. Someone come and play with some energy. But there were people sitting back not looking good in that timeout. And there's some people here who could be playing for jobs. Thierry Roubert steps back onto the floor, accompanied by Sean Fenn. And as Martin said, Sean Fenn, his whole college career at Stonehill, Georgia Tech, good shooter, good scorer. Has he taken a shot? Can't remember him taking a shot.
Well, he certainly hasn't made his presence known in the game so far.
Austin on the inside is fouled. Nice little duck in.
And that's just a lesson for young Ludovic Barty. You know, he's smiling at the referee, but what he needs to recognize, you just got a vet move put on you there. Austin didn't even pivot, just felt your presence, felt the physical push in the back, just went straight up to the basket, and notice he tried to kick it high off the glass, trying to give the ball a chance to get in for the and-one.
Well, he misses the first of the free throws, and that's probably the only stat that isn't good for this team at the moment from the free throw line. And not doing as good a job as you'd expect them to do. But they have a 49-23 lead, 1:06 to go in the first. Well, we had a record-winning margin in Spain. I wasn't expecting a record-winning margin, but at this rate, well, Benetton really could give Pau a nasty night. Well, there's three for Stanic. They need a lot more of those as Maxilano Stanic makes the three. 49-26. Austin in the post. Renzi seeing a lot of extended time, gives it up. And he will shoot that mid-range shot. Renzi for two, doesn't get the drop. In and out. Ball just didn't fancy dropping that time.
A great execution by them, though.
And but he worked hard, the young man. Got back, missed the shot, got back, and just about got his body on Rubert.
Yeah, and he can't believe that shot's not dropped. Rupert's he's been the bright spot for this Pau team. Veteran, 30 years old, seems like he's been around forever. Normally known as a shot blocker, defensive rebounder, but he's stepping up and he's trying to give his team a bit of a lift, a bit of a spark. There's no emotional fire out. There's nobody who's playing for the jersey and the pride of the club.
Barty on the inside, kicks to Mende, who breaks to the middle. Fadeaway jump shot is good for two. We got a whistle. And the whistle is for...
It should be a timeout.
Yep, timeout for Benetton.
Coach Matumi doesn't like the way these teams come back from this out of the last timeout. A bit flat defensively, given a couple of easy looks, and don't forget we've been talking about how Benetton have built this lead, consistency on offense and solid defense, and all of a sudden they give up 5 points in 30 seconds. Let's have a timeout and talk about it, guys.
Well, and he'll also get the last shot, and he wants to make sure he ends up with the shot he wants. Whereas this huddle here, we talk about it a lot. I know 21 points is a huge margin, but they've scored 5. If they could get a stop, perhaps a steal. And clutching at straws here, and that any sort of bit of momentum they can get, they'll take.
And the other point for this timeout for Coach Matumi, the Benetton coach, is it detracts from the half-time speech for Coach Mopsu, because when he gets his team into the locker room at half-time, he's just spoken to them 30 seconds ago. So if he wants to start smashing things up, it's not. Maybe he's trying to protect the furniture in the changing room.
He'll wants to make sure they don't spend any money re-kitting out the locker room, because they've spent a few pennies this year changing the lineup a little bit. But with just under 16 seconds, and who's to bet against Atsur being given an option here for a 3?
Well, Chalmers trying to get to the basket, and he's got the option. Atsur for 3. Will try and find Mario Austin sniffing around the basket.
Well, Atsur's staying out there, and Thierry Rupert guarding him. There's well, geez, that's not really the play, but there's a time for the offensive rebound, which they got. Ratio gets the shot away, which is no good. But 49-28, Benetton Treviso in complete control of this tie in the ULEB Cup. And if it carries on like this will be a great confidence breeder. But they have the lead at 49-28. We'll be back for second half action after the news that you're going to get now on Eurosport 2. Well, welcome back to Treviso, and there's the scoreline confirmation of a great first half by Benetton Treviso. 49-28 they lead. We were talking about it in the halftime period, Martin and I, and it's going to be a very, very long road back for Pau Orthez.
Well, you can hear that wind blowing, Mark. Blowout city. We need to see some of the highlights, some flashback, and Benetton shot the ball exceptionally well, which you'd expect them to do at home. They're one of the best three-point shooting teams. One of the highlights for Pau, probably watching the cheerleaders. Reece Gaines, we said, he's that guy, that slasher who can make things happen. 11 points in the first half. And a couple of highlights, some wacky shots have gone in for Pau. But, certainly this is Benetton's game to control now.
Well, and Benetton could do a number of things with this, couldn't they? They could get some guys in that don't play a lot. But I think that momentum and trying to get the continuity going, they'll want to get out of this game and get ready for games at the weekend, trying to build on the momentum they have actually got over the last few weeks. Probably see a little bit more time from Pops in the second half. Mario Austin showed what a quality player he was in the first half. His work might be done for the night.
Well, it may be, but I mean the numbers there don't lie. They tell the story of the game, don't they? 52% from the three-point line, 10 offensive rebounds for Benetton, and 11 turnovers by Pau. It's almost like they've just been introduced in the locker room. They don't know each other. Now, one or two things will happen with Benetton here. They will either, as you said, they might close up shop and say, right, let's just try and get out of here as fresh as possible. We've got the win pretty much secured. Or, which would make them subject to potential comeback. And a team like Pau is desperate for any kind of opportunity to get some momentum, some confidence. Or they're going to try and drive home the hammer and try and look at making this into a record-breaking affair, because this is the kind of thing that will send a message to the other teams, not only in their group, but also in the rest of the ULEB Cup.
Well, there was that little pretty play by Mario.
Play by Mario Austin.
He just waited and waited and waited, and actually just almost said to Saranga, go on, go down the middle, I'll give you the ball. And it's just a nice little soft little bounce pass, beautiful little finish, pretty play. And it's always a difficult set of circumstances for teams where you don't have confidence. Pau don't have that confidence, and normally you're looking at one guy or another to spark you, someone with some energy, run something, whether it be a Sean Fenn from the perimeter or whether it be one of these guys on the inside where they get the young guy Varty going even. Well, that's very difficult for young guys.
But where do you see the offensive spark for the Pau team? And if you think we're being hard on them, you can only imagine the pressure that man's under back home, because he's coaching a team with a great tradition and that everybody expects big things of.
Well, it's one of those situations. Young coach, was the assistant coach last season, gets the chance to step into the hot seat. And when a program like this goes wrong, normally, and one of the good things it looks like is this program is staying with him. They look like they're going to give him the chance. But the pressure a coach must be under if they're losing at home as well. The crowd are used to winning, especially in the French league. It's going to be a very long season, it looks like, at the moment.
And I've played in that Pau gym when it's an intimidating atmosphere, Mark, and the crowd really does bear down on the away team, and they're not accustomed to having defeats in general, but home defeats as well. They're getting beaten from pillar to post. It's a tough ask for Pau to turn this season around, but that's why we play whole seasons, because quality teams will come good.
Well, and we're talking about the whole season. The other thing is that positions in groups are important when we get into the last 32, the first knockout stage. Benetton just getting themselves into contention for one of those 32 spots when it gets to the knockout slots. Well, the third quarter just about to get going here in Treviso. Cheerleaders just doing their last bit. Obviously the referees enjoying that, the three of them, just getting a good view of the cheerleaders doing their bit. But just at the start of this third quarter, is there a way for Pau to get something going? Do they need to maybe score, get something going where they get it to 15, get it to 16 points, so they get a bit of momentum and start to believe they can compete?
Well, they're looking for any kind of positive momentum that they can generate, looking for some signs, some sparks of life. Some of the, charge the paddles up to 300, clear, get something going out there. They can't lay down and die. I mean, that's just not what professionals do in this day and age if they want to keep their job. And in this scenario for this team, we are talking job status. But the dwelling on the positive for Benetton, you think this team now really must fancy their chances. And we keep talking about the ULEB Cup and its structure this year. The final 8 in Turin, what an opportunity to go and play in front of your own fans at home. Big atmosphere, a big final 8 opportunity, and it looks like now, just the way the results have gone, Artland Dragons getting turned over at home by Lukoil Academic of Bulgaria. All of a sudden now, Benetton will be tied for 3rd place, and we were writing them off a few weeks ago. This team is in the ascendancy, and they will do all they can to not only qualify but then really cause some noise in the latter stage.
Well, looking for some momentum, looking to establish some balance and some different combinations. He's gone with his big guns on the inside, all his athleticness in Pops, and his big boy Mario Austin's got Reese Gaines still out there. Pops in traffic, struggled there, could have kicked it to
strong enough to make that move, Mark.
And Mario Austin wide open underneath the basket as well. A little bit of vision, but a turnover by Pau. Reese Gaines on the floor, gets down with a 3-on-3. Pau get back. Chalmers will probably take over, but Austin says no, I'm going to set a screen for you, give me the ball. Finds Chalmers, doesn't find Chalmers, steps back for 3 himself. Nothing on that one, and Maximiliano Stanic with the ball.
Mario Austin shot an awful lot of threes this year, and he wasn't a part of his game when he was in Hapoel Jerusalem. He's added that weapon to his armory, which is a good thing for big men to do. You need to shoot the ball better as you get older. It's a great opportunity for someone like Pops to play with someone like Mario Austin. He's been around for a while. He'll learn from him. I mean, that bang-down move then was something that Mario Austin's done to him in practice several times, I'm sure. And that shows that Pops is a guy who's learning the game. He's a student, and he is going to get better as years go on.
Well, Mario Austin hands it off again, gets in the post. There's Maresca for the quick release, and Well, back-to-back defensive rebounds for Pau. That hasn't happened for a long time. Here's Stanic. And Benetton look a little bit flat. It would be worrying if you're coaching there. You don't want to lose the momentum that you had.
Well, they need the energy back in their game, don't they?
David Young finds Stanic. And it's long for Robinson. And almost, Noah Varty almost got a piece of that. Chalmers just had it knocked away. Ludovic Varty. At least he's active. At least he's trying to get something going and spark this Pau team to some sort of performance in the second half. Chalmers guarded by Stanic. A little bit of extension on the defense, but not that intense. And there's Maresca. Giuliano Maresca finds Reece Gaines. That's too easy. That should be and would normally have been 3. And that's that's 3 missed shots for Treviso back to back.
Well, they're not doing what they got them here in the first place in the first half. They're not working for the easy shot.
Varty open for 2, gets a very friendly roll. Well, it's a nice little start here for Orthez. 49-32, down to 17 points. This is the sort of start that Orthez needed to just get a bit of belief into the game.
Well, you can see a timeout coming soon for Benetton if they don't get something going offensively and defensively. They're a bit flat, as you said, and it serves a good reminder for them to recognise we're not that good yet, guys.
Well, this will be a chance for Orthez to get it to 15.
Layup under the basket.
Vardy's going to get knocked away by Chalmers. He just the presence of Montebensu.
Oh, and he argues with the referee. A teenage error. You got stripped, young man. Forget it. Don't go arguing the referee. Take it up strong and dunk the ball. Interesting
to see the reaction of the coach here. Not surprisingly, there you go. And you better remember this point as you're a young man. He wants to talk about it. He's still talking about it. He gives them the hand gestures. There's the visual dissent that the referee has to respond to. A little bit of chat maybe, and he could have tried to cock a deafening to that one, but he couldn't with the visible.
And it's difficult, Mark. You know, you've got this kid here, Ludovic Varty, had a big summer. As you talk about the World Under-19 Championships with the French national team, going to the final again with the Serbia. Yeah. You know, his stock is certainly on the rise. He will have agents and coaches and NBA scouts talking to him. And again, knowing that he's coming out of that Pau Academy program, the sky's the limit for him. And he's just got to get off that star system. You're not the finished product yet, young man. And that's what is the coach's job, is to keep his feet squarely on the ground, keep focused on your job. Because if you talk back to a referee like that, when you go to the next level, well, you might get your butt kicked for one thing.
Oh, Benetton still struggling to get themselves going. They lead by 18 after the technical foul. There's Stanic for the long 3. Offensive rebound this time for Pau, as that was Kevin Melson getting after it a little bit better than anyone else has done so far. Bit activity on the offensive boards. Went up against, and the amazing, or the surprising thing here, this is the biggest that Benetton can be, and this is the best Pau have been on the glass.
Yeah, I'd love to have a couple of weeks working with somebody that pops his talent. You can see he's got all the ability, but he's not being coached. Just simple things. He relies on his athletic ability too much. That should be the icing on his cake. But the basics he's lacking. You know, good box-out skills, great positioning in the low post, setting strong screens that will enable him to get open to do what he does best.
Well, David Young, after scoring 2 down the other end, picks up the foul there. Quick move by Reece Gaines, and he just couldn't get to the baseline fast enough. Wow, 50-34 with 6:16 to go here in Treviso. Bit flat to start the second half here, and as Chalmers goes and forces that one. And a rebound again, another rebound for Orthez. Chance for points on the break. That's probably the first 2 they've got on the break. 13 there. David Young comes up with another 2, and there's the timeout that Martin said was coming. Probably about 2 phases too late, in my opinion, but that 2 points from David Young gets the Benetton Coach Moody up, and he wants that timeout.
And I'll tell you, Mark, where that timeout came from was, yes, the performance so far in this third quarter, but that last play, Lionel Chalmers drove to the basket, 3 guys on him. And, you know, just as I'm saying that Pops needs to get better with his spatial awareness, he cleared himself a fantastic position under the basket. And Chalmers has got to look, you know, as Mick Meadow says, feed the bear, get your big men happy. And that was a chance then to have a thunderous dunk, get the crowd back into it. and that's where coach said, well, hold on, guys, you're playing for yourselves now, and he has to have a team that suffers from selfishness sometimes.
Wow.
And David Young is a player that we said he's rock solid. You know, they've got the ability. Individually, this Pau team can play. They just haven't stuck it together as a team yet.
Momentum is a big thing. We talk about it all the time. An 8-1 start, and you know, if they score again this time, they score and they get it under 10, all of a sudden Benetton start playing worried, looking over their shoulder, and there's no fear. There should be no fear on this Pau team.
Yep.
Down that many at the half, how the hell can we win from this? Let's just go and play hard. Well, it looks like David Young single-handedly, offensively anyway.
And the ball starts rolling your way. Varty with that jump shot there, rattling off the rim. And the Pau team all of a sudden start to play loose and say, look, guys, we've got nothing to lose. We're down by 20. Let's just give it what we've got now, play together and see what comes out of it. Wow. Coach Mopsu will find the 5 players that want to make good things happen. And another turnover, a chance to cut into this lead some more.
This is like the Benetton team we saw in the first half against Regan when we covered them a couple of weeks ago, whereas too much dribble, too much individual play, and not enough ball movement. Don't know where that first half has gone, but if they don't find it soon, well, we were writing off Pau Orthez, but if the Treviso don't start getting back to where they were at the beginning, this could become extremely interesting. And here's Stanic, finds Melson. Here's Young, thought about it. Double teams is coming. It's after it pretty well. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Need to get something away here. Turnover. Atrocious pass by Melson. And Maresca just about controls the basketball and gets the 2.
Well, Mark, that's where Pau just doesn't have the answer. They don't have that second. You know, David Young's had a couple of baskets, but then they focus on him, key on him defensively, and there's no other answer, and that's where they're struggling.
Stanic finds weak move. He asked for the foul, but there's nothing there as Robinson went to the basket. Well, we're back on track. There's the big 3 on the end of the break. Robinson is still talking about, Thierry Roubert is still talking about the foul. And the quick timeout by Coach Mopsu, as all that hard work has just been undone in 2 trips down the floor.
Yeah, simple as that, Mark. You kept it up perfectly. Two trips down the floor, 2 laps in concentration, another argument with the referee, and all of a sudden it's back out to a 19-point deficit.
Well, and if you're in a hole, you got to stop digging, and for a while they stopped digging. And
Mary said, put down the spade and step away from the hole.
Well, at the moment, this hole just got a damn sight bigger, but
I mean, there are positive signs for them, though. You know, they are. They've played hard. You know, we're not criticising their work ethic. It's just they're making bad decisions. Perfect example of one there. Desperate to get the ball to David Young. Maybe he needs to work hard to get himself open. You know, defensively, things looked a little bit better, but another turnover leads to an easy basket, and time to read the program and say, who are these guys?
Wow, back live after the timeout, 55-36, for just under 5 minutes to go. Can Pau re-establish that little bit of momentum they've got, get it to about 15, 14 points? We may have a ball game in the 4th quarter, or a Benetton going to get to where they were in the first half. Vardy's back in the game. We're going to go to work in the post on Sabonsu over the top of Vardy. Nice move by the young man.
Nice move, but I bet you could make that one 7 out of 10. That was good defense by Pop. Stayed on his feet, didn't go for any of the pump fakes. And Vardy just stayed with the play, got nice touch. But then wide open jump shot, and guess there's only one winner of that rebounding battle there.
And gets the M1 play. Strong play.
Look at that. And you know, that is a gift. You know, you know, you don't have that awareness. Look, he puts his body on Varty, so that battle is won already. That ball goes on the glass. He's going to out-jump everybody. There's only one thing to do. If you're going to foul him there, you can't let him get it up in the air. He's too strong in the air to do that, and just great conversion by Pops. You know, terrific play, and it's really exciting to see a British player out there with that sort of ability.
Well, re-establishes the 20-point lead, 58-38. It's got to stop now if they're going to have any chance of getting anything going into the 4th quarter. Inside. There's a nice move by Thierry Roubert.
That's what he
little
can
jump
do.
hook.
He's going over his left shoulder, the right-hand jump hook. Just force him away from it. That's a scout report thing. So look, if he shoots his left hand, he's dead.
There's a foul here by Maximiliano Stanic.
Interesting name for an Argentinian.
Absolutely, yeah. I was We were looking at that. I'm sure he's probably got a passport. And how many times have we said that over the last few weeks?
But also by asking yourself, why would you go out and get an Argentinian passport to go and play in France? No, I think Mama called him Stanic. His name is Stanic. Again, he's trying to dunk the ball there on Thierry.
There's probably some Eastern European here, hereditary there on the history on the side of his ancestors.
Let's not speculate.
No, it's
he's actually quite a solid player and a good find by Pau team. But he's a role player. He's not a star. And that's what Pau is lacking. They're lacking that big game player that can give up some big numbers.
Well, the interesting thing that you can talk about here is how have they put this team together, because they haven't really put a team together, have they? They got it wrong at the start of the season. They've used 17 players.
They've had some injuries as well. Cedric Withers is an important part of their team.
Another turnover there. He was always coming down there thinking, I'm going to make that pass, I'm going to make that pass. And Maresca read it, got himself into the keyway, get his hands on it, stop Vardy getting down the lane, and Vardy's going to get called for the foul. It's almost one of those things about making your mind up before you even get down there. And the team fouls are at 5, so it will be Maresca on the free throw line. And I like the way that this Benetton team are giving different players nice extended periods of playing time. Not just throwing them in for a little bit of time, they're giving them periods on the floor. Here's Maresca, who is a decent national team player. First year with Treviso. Up until this game was averaging about 10 minutes a game, but he's extending that on this one. And that shows the depth, and that's why we think, we do think now that Benetton with the right focus could be a real factor come knockout time.
It's one of those teams you don't want to draw in the knockout stage. You can see they've got size, they've got athleticism in the paint. They've got guys that are starting to get the confidence shooting-wise. Now, Atsur Engin doesn't play very many minutes, but what he does do, he comes out there and strokes it. 3 for 4 tonight. Mario Austin, we know, is an established ULEB Cup star. And you wouldn't fancy playing him in a two-leg affair, because they've got the ability to beat you bad in Italy.
Well, here is Stanic trying to get this Pau team. Nice look, nice pass, but turned over. Mendy just couldn't handle it. At least there was looking on the inside, bit of an aggressive cut, chance to go in.
Aggressive step into the ball. That's supposed to be a foul on the defensive player, because Reece Gaines was ball watching, and he just saw the pass coming, and Mendy's got to step in front of him and be strong and aggressive.
Nice ball movement. Gigli for 3. Nothing on that. Mensah-Bonsu's the only one going to the rebound. Chance here for Orthez. Young to the hoop and makes the pass after that. That'll be a sideline ball. Well, David Young playing with some heart, and I think you said his job's safe, because he makes the contribution every game for this team.
Funny thing, Mark, you just said, 17 players they've gone through. You would expect wholesale changes at Christmas. But if you've been through that many players, you're going to put yourself in almost exactly the same hole again. I mean, mate, what do? You stick with these guys and try and play them out. It depends on contracts and buyouts and all sorts of things. There's only so many changes you can make. You've got to find established players, and they cost a lot of money.
Well, and there's not many of them around at the moment come this stage of the season.
Come on, Mark, let's get back in shape and show them what we got.
Well, with your history in France, I'm expecting a phone call. And here's Pau, could really do with a big inside presence like Mr. Henlon. But here's Mendy with a step-back 3, looking ugly on that shot, just about caught the back of the ring.
Just about as ugly as I would look if I was out there playing, so let's get off that idea.
And there's Suringer back in the game. Here's Atsur to pull up, and that comes off, recovered. Gigli just gives it back to Atsur in the corner, and Suringer almost fumbles it.
Well,
not a lot of time, 4 seconds on the shot clock. Got to find Ben. He's fouled on the way up. Well, bowed out a little bit as David Young hits him on the arm on the way up, and he will go to the free throw line.
That foul, 23 seconds of defense, and then you're just going to chop. Well,
I think that you can just sum it up in just lazy D. He just stopped playing D, got caught being lazy.
Look on Thierry Rupert's face there, the number 12, like, oh my goodness, what are you doing?
It's a difficult situation they find themselves in now, Pau. They're 60-40 down. This is one aspect of Pops's game he's going to have to improve, though, isn't he? Because he's going to spend a lot of time on here unless he starts making these free throws.
Yeah, the strange thing is he needs a lot of attempts in the games. I'm sure his free throw in practice, he's got a good-looking stroke. I'm sure his free throws in practice is like butter. but it's the game situations. You need to draw a lot of fouls and then convert those, and that just comes with experience. These are the things that you can't buy that experience, and you don't get it automatically. You've got to play a lot of years, and that's the difference between a veteran and well, a rookie in Europe, shall we say.
Well, there's the Rupert jump hook with the right hand again.
And that is a veteran. You know, Rupert's been around a long time and knows his limitations and tries to stay within his game.
Well, it's 19. They're trying to hang in there. They're trying to give themselves a chance to get back in the game. Pick and roll with and Sabonsu is going to go up. Little left hand jump hook comes up short. And with 58 seconds to go in the third quarter, Pau control it. Rupert gets into the keyway, kicks it. Stanic thought about the long three, kicks, steps back out, comes off the pick and roll. Oh, looking for the backdoor cut. That's almost a nice and pretty play to Thierry Rupert under the basket. And David Young looks like he's going to get a rest at the end of this third quarter. And Antoine Mendy steps into the game. 4 points for young Antoine Mendy, 20 years old. Good defense, stripped, should finish this. And a little bit of athleticism on the dunk for Mendy.
Well, you said he could jump, Mark.
Yeah, he can definitely get up, and he's closed it. It's a 61-44 lead, down to 17, get a stop. They could even be under, it could be at 15 by the end of the third, and that'll be all. It could get into the interesting phase then.
Well, Benetton have gone to sleep offensively, so they need to get something going here, because it's very difficult to get offensive momentum going when you lose your shooting touch.
Wenger with a fadeaway two, veteran play, gets the two, chance, can they get the shot away? Buzzer goes, ball's up, nowhere near the basket, and it's a 19-point margin. Pau held their own in that quarter, but holding your own is never enough when you're 19 down. And it's still Benetton's game to lose at the end of the third quarter here in Treviso.
Well, 63-44, and Thierry Rupert just about to see his nice jump hook. He's been playing really well. It will be an interesting fourth quarter. Let's see which team can come out fired up.
Well, end of the third quarter, and it is about who can come out in the first 4 or 5 minutes. Because if Pau can get themselves going and get it to 10, that's a big ask even, 9-point margin. Could be interesting for the last 4, but it's got to be, they've got to get some stops. They're still not doing enough with the defense. Well,
they started the third quarter with an 8-1 run. They get another one, and this game becomes very interesting. Again, it looks like Coach Mopsu's got a feel for the 5 on the floor. He's got confidence in. And it plays like that, aggressive defensively, as Mendy here with an impressive dunk at the end of that steal. You know, that is what will get them back into it. But they will need somebody that can step up, make some shots. And I was about to say, Antoine Robertson, we haven't seen anything of him in the third quarter. What will he bring to this team?
Well, it's still that the one thing they have stopped, though, is those offensive rebounds. They had 11, didn't they, or 10? They've only given up 2, so they've closed that one a little bit.
Yeah, but they haven't stopped throwing the ball away. 18 turnovers. They're on track for a 24-25 turnover game. And they just don't. This is what they're lacking, is the Saragna, the vet, the guy who just knows to go to a simple play, do what you do best.
Wow. Orthez, Pau Orthez, control the ball at the start of the fourth. 63-44, they trail. And there's the quick three to start this, and that'll be their ball.
Well, that's what Cedric Faucheux is in the game for. He's a spot-up shooter. So you're not going to criticize for taking that shot, but you want somebody else to crash the boards there.
Faucheux grabs it, thinks about it again. Well, he's definitely going to shoot the ball. Right. That's a catch, shoot start to the fourth quarter. That's a gamble, and that might be one of the ways that they were talking about getting back into the game, but they're not going to get back into the game if they let that guy get on the offensive boards. And what was I talking about in terms of they've done a better job on the boards? No one put a body on him, and he just slams the dunk.
He got posterized, trying to flex for the camera on the way down too.
They've got to try and get something offensive, get some defensive stop. Here's Mendy, swarming defense that time by Benetton. Nice pass to the inside, and then there's Thierry Rupert, who's coming up with some points as the game moves on, and it's all that little right-hand finish.
Yeah, great slash. And you notice they protected. He knew that Pops was there, but he's got his body in place, then just a gentle lay. Get me the easy 2 points. It's a lot more exciting to see the way Pops does it, but it counts the same on the scoreboard.
No one giving style marks as you score. Nice pass. This is going one way, and there's another big dunk by...
Although you say no style marks, Mark. 10. Great execution, and the 10s I'm giving is not for the dunk, it's for the roll.
Yep.
Great screen and rolled hard and fast to the basket.
Well, if this goes the way, if he starts doing stuff like this, it's going to be an interesting inside combination that GB team could have in the Eurobasket 8 next summer. That'll be worrying for some of those big-name European teams.
We've got to wait to see where that draw turns out, but you know, certainly the prospect of having Pops putting on the GB jersey, what a great addition to have. You know, after last summer's exploits, you know, you've got Luol Deng, who's already a great player. We know that some other components really well. Now you're going to add some true inside firepower.
Well, it'll be a nice little foil for the big bodies of Archibald and Betts, and that'll be the big athlete, you know, time for Pops to get in there. That'll give him something else, and you know, some people step up on the perimeter, the GB team, and I'm sure Coach Chris Finch will be looking forward to getting some of those guys in uniform.
I'm sure he will. Just back on this game, one thing that I'm not impressed with on the Benetton team side is they don't come together as a team very much. And I know they're up by 21 points, but this is when you got to talk to your teammates. This is a great chance to get to know your teammates a little bit better. You know, Fantoni, he's an inspirational player, gets in the game. He's doing the work that he does. You know, communication's not great on this team, and that's... Now that will hurt them when you get into the big game situations, because the coach can't be with you every second of the way.
Well, I don't like it. I agree with you. I don't like when I see teams relax too much in this way. Well, there's Fischel with another 3, so he's definitely not shot shy, but he comes up short with that. Nice pass down the middle, nice finish. And Tommaso Fantoni, who we really liked in the last game here against Riga, when they really needed some inspiration off the bench, and Fantoni really gave him that lift. Gets down the floor really well.
First action of the game in the 4th quarter, and you see that he does add a spark to this team, and you can understand why Coach Maktoumi is trying to rest him a little bit tonight. You need his legs fresh.
Mensah-Bonsu's fouls Varty there. It's a nice little matchup with both the young guys, but he just went for a little bit too much there. Just pushed him a little bit too much, didn't give him any space whatsoever.
But don't be nice to the rest. Pops played straight up defense there, and Varty fumbled the ball. And you know, I think that the reason why the call goes against him is because as a team, Benetton have just deflated a little bit defensively, and so the intensity is not there.
Well, here's Mendy on the free throw line again, just to underline that point. No defense on the inbound play, really simple. Get it 2 feet from the basket. Mendy ends up on the free throw line. Here he's got to convert, does with the first. Closes it to 22 points.
And here's a sign of how, well, soft is the word I use, Pau has been defensive on the offensive end. That's only their 3rd and 4th free throws of the game. Right. Surely you would draw more free throws than that.
Only if you're going to be aggressive, and as you keep saying, you're definitely not being aggressive. But in the half court now, here's Maskeska, and he gets fouled, and Serenga get involved in the action, and Mendy comes up with the foul. And there's Serenga on the drive, and Mendy just gets lazy and tries to reach from behind, and he looks a bit disgusted at the official, but the call was absolutely correct. 3rd foul on Antoine Mendy. And Mensah-Bonsu on the dribble, goes baseline. Oh my word!
Oh, I'm joking.
Where did that come from?
Well, I was just about to say, here's a chance to pressure on Pops when he's outside, and he just, well, Varty, no defense, baseline.
Mendy answers now. We've got a dunk demonstration, and in normal circumstances we got like a little bit excited about that, but what Mensah-Bonsu did down here, well, that just underlines the athletic ability that the young man has. Nice easy 2, and as you said though, that counts as many.
Yeah, well, just as many, but I know which one I like to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
Broken play. I mean, you wouldn't expect to see Pops catching the ball out that far, but this just shows how they've relaxed, because go to the other end, and Mendy just goes and dunks on to Tommaso Fantoni's head.
Well, it's There's got to be some personal pride in your defence at both ends, with both teams, and at the moment doesn't appear to be either end of the floor or any defences being played. 73-49, 6:30 to go.
And Mark, this is where Coach Martoumi should be giving his team some challenges. So keep them under 50. No layups in the fourth quarter. That's what inspires your team. Little games, it's like the good old days. $50 bonus for anybody that takes a charge. That little thing. Cash always does help the efforts of players. But they're just relaxing, and again another chance there where Mendy gets his third dunk.
It's a highlight for Antoine Mendy night, and
well, who's got the most dunks? That's 3 each for him and for Pops.
Well, it's all it says to me is that this Treviso team is just waiting for this to finish. In fact, both teams look like it's waiting for finish, and that's the last time you really want to see Tommaso Fantoni trying to dunk it. But
hey, you know what, Mark? I'm really sorry. This is cold of me to say this, but after I've seen some of the dunks that have gone on, I'm not going to try and grab the rim. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to make strong layups and get some and ones. That looks much better. You're not going to make the highlight film. Even if he got the first dunk, he wasn't going to be on the highlight reel.
But what he does is he works hard in his real blue collar, and he gets the job done, and he's now got to complete the three-point play, and he doesn't, but the whistle's gone, and I think Pops was in.
Right, he's a priceless player as well, Fantoni. He's a guy who's absolute passionate about his team and about the Benetton club and the family. The fans love him, and he puts his heart on the line every time on the floor.
That's the guy that the crowd want to see do well. Nice kick for Scholl for three. Well, 1 from 4.
He had to make him sooner or later, Mark. I mean, that's what he's in the game for. He's a three-point shooter, and he can gun it from anywhere on the floor.
And here is Chalmers, who we haven't mentioned for a while because he hasn't even got into his hands, because people like Mensah Bonsu have been dunking the thing without any guard being involved. But he comes up with the 2 after a little fumble. 77-54. All Benetton Treviso. We've got a half-court call on the halfway line, and well, it wouldn't be anywhere else, would it? A half-court call on the halfway line, but it's all
well spotted, though.
Oh no, I'll have to ring up some of our refereeing friends and check if I got that one right. There's Chalmers off the glass for 2. And the only to add to your disappointment about Benetton, the last few minutes they've stopped working on anything. They're just seeing this game out, it appears to me. Well, that was a nice sharp cut. Maresca, nice penetration. I thought that was going to go one way. Mensah Bonsu over it. Mende for the lead almost in the dunk, but no, misses the layup.
Yeah, good defense though, so we're not going to give him the open dunk. We should have tried to dunk it because he can't.
Maresca, nice pretty layup, doesn't get it. Mensah Bonsu's all over the rebound now. He's going to get unfortunately called for the travel. Good effort.
Yeah, he knows. He worked so hard to get the rebound. He almost did a bit of a home run trot and forgot to secure his dribble there. But he's just relentless on the offensive glass. And again, scouts report should say, box the guy out. Don't let him get loose on you, because he's a handful down there.
Here's Pau Orthez down 23. Personal pride, trying to get something. They've got some. Their position in the French league means they shouldn't really be going easy at all. There should be guys out there trying to work something. Fantoni chases that one down. 4 on 3 here. Should get something here. Thought about the 3 in Maresca, and there's a foul on the end of the break. And Sean Fein, who we've hardly mentioned in the game, it fouls Maresca on the break, and it will be a Treviso basketball. 77-54 now here in Treviso. 4:24 to go. Atsur checks into the game. And Mendy almost comes up with another steal. He's done an excellent job on the ball, but Atsur completely gets away and makes the easy 2.
And I'll tell you, Mark, how Pops made that basket. They're so worried about him dunking, they're not even going to try and guard against the layup. So let him score an easy layup, because I don't want him to miss and then Pops come and crunch on my head. I want to pick up something you mentioned a little bit earlier on about the French teams, and we talk about nations in the ascendancy, and the French basketball does seem to be going through a bit of a downtime. Their national team's so prominent on the world stage, and they stick wholeheartedly with this development of domestic talent, but they're struggling in international competition. Rowan getting creamed in the EuroLeague. No real presence, as Villeurbanne do so in this competition. They had a big win tonight on the road, but You know, Nancy not looking good, Strasbourg looking terrible, and Pau, well, you know, this game speaks for itself. You know, what is the essence of having a whole national team where on the ascendancy, where you look at the Italian clubs, Bologna, Benetton struggled early on, but now they're starting to look good, starting to show the quality, the cream rising to the top, as my old mate Mr. Bucknell used to say.
Well, at the end of the day, on top of everything else, the French national team struggled as well in the summer. So for whatever reason, it's not been pretty for the French.
Fantoni keeps trying to dunk the ball. Someone needs to tell him, young fella, that's not your job.
That's your job, and that's what you do. You go up strong, you get fouled.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, well, I'm not going to go into cliches, but keep the game simple. You know, if you're not a dunker, don't be a dunker. Be a layup. That's what we always used to say. If you can't touch the rim, just lay the glass ball up, and there he gets fouled.
Well, he'll go to the free throw line. And makes the first, and he is a decent free throw shooter, Tommaso Fantoni. And can he go 2 from 2 and increase his lead yet further to 26? No, he doesn't get it. Well, I've been said he was a good free throw shooter. He was odds on to miss.
Yeah, he knew he'd miss one of them.
Well, Almedia's back in the game since the first time since that difficult second quarter. Antoine Robinson on the perimeter. Sean Finn trying to get open. Someone still read that scouting report about not letting the guy get set. Decent defensive job by Maresca, Giuliano Maresca, playing a lot of denial there, one pass away. That's good defense by Maresca. Did a good job working hard. Almeida pulls up and gets the drop.
And Mark, Sean Finn hasn't played a lot of minutes tonight, but he just doesn't look as if he's, you know, at the level of competition of the ULEB Cup. So I'd imagine he's struggling in the French league as well. As I say, he's come up through the ranks in Pro A, Pro B, from Quimper last year. He struggled tonight.
Oh, missed layup by Mendy, but decent rebound. He gets a chance to shoot. No, back off the ring. Well, this could be interesting. Mensah Bonsu going all the way, and a finger roll for 2, little coast to coast from Pops. Mensah Bonsu gets an easy 2 with a beautiful little finger roll. Can he make the free throw for the and one?
Well, let's hope so, but what a strong move. You know, I say Fane, he's not strong enough to play at this level, and there Pops recognizing that, going right down the throat, saying, I'm not after the dunk, I'm after the and one. And it, you know, you see him growing in presence, and you know, his athleticism aside, and yes, we know he had his NBA experience last year, but the NBA is no longer the measure of a player's worth. And Pops, you can see, has oodles of talent, and I just hope he gets into the right coaching environment that can help him improve.
Well, it's Almeida at the point, trying to create, and does so. The long 3, though, for Antoine Robinson. Well, is no good at all.
I think the message for Antoine Robinson on this performance would be smoking or non-smoking aisle or window. Imagine you can have a long Christmas break this time. It's easy to be hard on a team when they're down as much as Pau is. Kick a team when they're down, which I'm quite happy to do.
Chalmers travelled on the stumble.
Well, it's the only way he could help it. But this Pau team, it's so disappointing to see a club with such a history and such a heritage struggling so much at this level.
Well, the crowd enjoyed something there. I don't think they enjoyed the stumble. But
well, Pops has just had his hurrah. You know, he said thanks from the crowd for great highlights, but great effort as well. You know, he's worked so hard for his team tonight, and also they're applauding because the real youngsters coming in the game.
Well, this boy is fresh out of school.
He's not even on the stat sheet. Martinoni. Oh, they put him in there just for my name's sake.
Oh, Mendy misses. Great experience for the young man, and most of these big-time European clubs have always got one eye on the future, always looking to develop their own talent. And he's going to get 2 minutes out there with the big boys.
You know, it's funny, Mark, because you know I played a lot of games in my career, and I remember a fair few, but I definitely remember my first time playing with the senior team, and I remember it clear as a bell. And it means so much to a youngster to get out there on the court and have a chance to show his talents, even for a couple of minutes.
He's on the full view of the home crowd, and he's probably got his mum and dad in the audience too. Going up on the inside is Thierry Roubert, who doesn't get the drop, and he will go to the free throw line.
And Renzi there getting another number in the wrong stat column. A foul picked up. It's a tough time to play as well. This is part of the reason why you put your youngsters out there, because they will play hard. You know, the intensity seems to have dropped off. Pau recognizing that, you know, this one, I've never seen anybody come back from 23 points down in a minute and a half. So I think this game is pretty much over, as is more than likely Pau's ULEB Cup campaign, which opens the door for the other teams that have to play against them in the group now. You can pretty much write 3 more losses in the bin for them.
Oh, that's big time for Lukoil Academic, who are going to get one of those, well, probably going to get one of those wins. And
but there's a shock story, isn't it? Group H, the teams in this group, and Lukoil Academic, the Bulgarian team, which are always great on the road, looks like they are going to be in the catbird seat here. They've got a good chance of being the seeded team that will win this group.
Well, big game tomorrow night in this group, with Riga playing at home to Khimki, and if Riga get the home win, that puts them in the mix still. But as importantly, Lukoil will take over as the group leaders. Meanwhile, Maresca is pinned by Thierry Roubert, and you can see, and that's tight. He's a veteran, Thierry Roubert, and he's looking at the other guy saying, where are you? I blocked it and no one got back.
The biggest guy on the team, the biggest, slowest guy on the team, hustles down the floor, busts his tail to get back and block the shot. And where are his teammates? Sunning themselves at half court looking for the
I wouldn't be surprised if he takes this after that.
I'm not surprised he shot that shot too. There's no question about who is the potential leader on this team.
Thierry Roubert's going to go pick and roll at the top, but Mildia turns it down.
But he's still playing hard, though, even though his team is really, well, stuck the court up tonight. You see him working hard in the low post, trying to get his shots off, trying to make good things happen for this team.
Wow. That huge screen was Fantoni, who's even with only 8 seconds to go in the game, still very disappointed to give up the foul and send Thierry Roubert to the free throw line, and probably the only guy to come out of any credit. Well, Mendy's done okay and picked up a few steals and got to the basket, but consistently Thierry Roubert has played hard in every minute he was on the floor, but doesn't get the drop. It's a shame for him, but the last action of a very comprehensive win by Benetton Treviso is the dunk from Chalmers, and it's an 88-60 margin. Mendy doesn't get the drop. 88-60. Benetton again underline that they are back in contention. They want to be in the top 32 teams in this competition. They want to be in the knockout, and they have really ended Pau's chances as they win 88-60. Great win for Benetton here tonight in Treviso. Martin, sum that one up. What a great performance by Benetton.
Great performance by Benetton, and one quickly forgotten by Pau, I would imagine. It shows, as you said, one team in the ascendancy. What a great night by Pops. I was wondering when we get to see that dunk again. Great performance, great team performance by Benetton. They are now firmly top 3 in Group H.
Well, there's confirmation. 88-60 for Benetton Treviso. They are right back in the mix in this group. Eurosport 2 will take the Christmas break, and we'll be back on the 8th of January for the next round of games. It's good night from me, Mark Clark and Martin Henlon, and have a great Christmas from here on Eurosport.